Hello everyone, this is Nathan Chinaman here, and I'm going to be teaching you how to solve the 3x3x3 Rubik's Cube using the layer by layer by layer method. This is a method recommended to those wanting to learn how to solve the 3x3. It's fairly easy to learn. It's a beginner's method, and before we get solving, let's teach you the notations. This is the upper face, so when I say do a U-turn, that'd be a U-turn. If I say right turn, that would be a right turn. And if I said L turn, that would be an L turn. There is face turn, and there is D turn. Now, the opposite of U would be a U prime, or up inverted. I'll be using the prime, and you have R prime, L prime, and D prime. Now you will not have to use the middle layer or the back layer in this method. It's all these ones right here. So let's get to it. Alright, just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to have you solve the white cross first. So let's look for edge pieces that have white in them. Now if I were to move this up, where it goes into the up layer to match in its right spot, it's just not oriented correctly, it goes green, white, green, white. Here comes a very easy and common algorithm. F prime, U, L prime, U prime. There you go. Here's another piece that we could use. What we're going to do is we're going to move that into the down layer, and we're going to match up this white's adjacent color with its center. So it goes white, orange, orange, and we're going to move that up into the top layer. Now this one's blue, but the blue's over here, so you're going to match this up with the blue center to get the blue in its right spot, and the white you're going to move up to get the white cross. Now I don't know about you, but I find right and up turns a lot easier to perform than right and down turns or left and down turns. So what I do is I put the cross down, and I'm looking for corners with white in it, like this one: white, blue, red, white, blue, and red. So I'm going to get this one over here and make it my top right corner. Now if the white is on the top, you're going to do this: right, U2, right prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. And now that should get the piece in the correct spot. So now we have white, orange, and blue. Now if it's on the right side, you're going to do R, U, R prime. That's just fairly simple. And now if it's in a corner spot, just do R, U, R prime to pull it out. Now this one, again on the right side, we have R, U, R prime. In this case, the white is facing us, so what we're going to do is we're going to do U, R, U prime, R prime. Now that should solve the first layer. Now with the second layer, we're going to be looking for color pieces that don't have yellow in them. Like this one, for instance. This is green and orange. So you're going to look at the color facing you and match that up with its center. Now you're going to look at the right and left sides to try to match them up with this top color. This is green and this is green. So that tells me that this piece needs to be here. So you're going to perform this algorithm: U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime. Now that should get that there without affecting your already solved face. So here's another one: red and green. Okay, so again, this piece needs to be here, so you're going to do U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime. Here's orange and blue. Again, over here. Again, over here. That should solve the second layer. Some cases you're going to have where this piece needs to be here. So you're going to perform this algorithm. U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, F. And that should solve the second layer. Alright, on to the last layer. What you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to form the top cross. Now, in this step, you're going to either have 4 cases. You're going to have this one where none of the pieces here are facing up, they're all facing away. Or you're going to have the J, the bar, or the cross. Now, to get to the J, you're going to want to perform this algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And that gets you the J. And you want to repeat F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now you got the bar, and repeat F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And that should get you the top cross. Alright, on this step, you're going to want to pair up the edges. Now, looking at this, I can already tell you that these two are paired up are in the right spot, and these two need to be flipped. So in order to fix this, you're going to need to do this algorithm. U, R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. Now here's a helpful tip. Just do one more U-turn to get the 2 adjacent edges paired up, and you want to repeat U, R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And that should pair up all of your edges. Now on to the final part of solving the 3x3x3 Rubik's Cube. You're going to want to look at all 4 of these corners and look for any corner that is in the correct spot. Now looking at this, I can tell you right now that none of the corners are in their correct spot, so I'm going to have to perform this algorithm to get one correct corner. So you're going to do U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And that should give me one correct corner. Now looking at these corners, this one needs to be here, this one needs to be here, and this one needs to be here. Now here is the algorithm to do the clockwise turn. So we're going to do L prime, U, R, U prime, L, U, R prime, U prime. And that should rotate the corners counterclockwise to get me to the last step. Now in this case, looking at all 3 corners, they need to come in a counterclockwise. So you're going to perform this algorithm. U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And that should rotate them all counterclockwise to get them in the correct spot. Now when solving the top layer, you can have several cases. You can have where there's 2 non-oriented corners, there's 4 non-oriented corners, or there's 3 non-oriented corners. Now when there's 2, well, you solve them all the same way, but there is some shortcuts that I will show you in the next video. But for now, you're just going to do this algorithm. You're going to do R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D. Now when you do that and you get this corner in the correct spot, you're not going to rotate the whole cube to this next one. You're just going to rotate the upper face. And you're going to repeat R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D. And now you just want to rotate the top layer. And there you go. You've solved the 3x3x3 Rubik's. Here's another case where there is 4 unoriented corners. You're going to do R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D, R prime, D prime, R, D. You are going to repeat. Here's a case where there was 3 unoriented corners. And you're going to do your R prime, D prime, R, D, 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 R prime, D prime, R, D.